name's Trish. Welcome to another Neptune moon reading. I love doing these readings. These cards are so beautiful and so powerful. So let's continue on from where we have been and try and piece together some of these puzzle pieces and get a little bit of clarity to what we have been working on in the last couple of weeks. Some of the topics that I'll talk about today is the Halls of Amenti, the Atlantean, reincarnation, the Akashic Records, and the Aether. So some of these are topics that I talk about often, but we're going to try and piece these together and bring in some kind of clarity. We may even look into this one at the end because it was coming up a lot in the last readings. So first of all, as I'm talking, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the Halls of Amenti as we tap into Spirit and ask Spirit to join us to bring through further wisdom and insight into these topics and connections. Now, the Halls of Amenti, often described as a multidimensional realm beyond ordinary perception. The Halls of Amenti are believed to hold the records of the souls, their journeys, their transformations. They serve as a gateway to higher wisdom and ascension. The beautiful thing that we have been focusing on in the last few Neptune Min readings are the work with Thoth the Atlantean and how he worked in the Halls of Amenti. Now, the cards have quite often brought out the reincarnation card, and it is connected, and today we're going to have a look how. How are the Halls of Amenti connected to reincarnation? Well, here it says that they're believed to hold the records of souls and their journeys and their transformations. Their karma, the cause and effect. It is all about the karma here. When working through the Halls of Amenti, it holds our records of good and bad, our karma. And this is often connected to the reincarnation cycle. So when we reincarnate, it's often because we feel we can do something better, or that we have some karmic situation that we need to make up for, some cause or effect that has caused us a certain outcome, and we want to do better, or we want to try and rectify that karma. So this is deeply connected to reincarnation, and this is what we have been getting in the last few readings when it comes to Thoth the Atlantean and him bringing in reincarnation. Now, I didn't know this prior to doing these readings a few months ago, and this is where I'm trying to make the pieces to connect to this puzzle and really enjoying understanding these insights that we've been gaining. Now, as we know, I'm going to just continue shuffling here. Some of the things to do with reincarnation, as they've told us in many of the readings, are forbidden fruit. There is some insights here around the Halls of Amenti, primarily around this situation when it comes to reincarnation, what the rules are, what goes on with reincarnation. There's some things here that are secret, that are forbidden and not allowed knowledge. We're not allowed a deep understanding, but I tap into Spirit today, into my spirit guides, and I ask for them to reveal to us the things that we are allowed access to, and that's what I'm asking for with this information to come through. So anything further that you'd like to bring through on the Halls of Amenti. Now, I've been reading Thoth the Atlantean, the book, and in that first tablet, the Emerald Tablets, it talks about how Thoth was asked to step up to work in the Halls of Amenti. Now, this is, according to this information, where they hold the records of souls, their journeys, and their transformations. This is all connected and related to reincarnation, as we have been getting in the last few readings. Now, Wisdom Seeker, this is the quest for knowledge. Now, the reason I do delve into these mysteries is because I am a Wisdom Seeker. I am requesting knowledge and information. As they have said many times, some of this is forbidden fruit, and I feel part of this information that is forbidden is related to the battles for dominance. This is something that we connected into and tapped into on the last reading. They told us there was information that was forbidden, but they also told us there's a war going on, or a battle going on for the system, the system of reincarnation of our souls, the system of control of our souls, or the systems of the battle of dominance. Now, this is what the cards really want to get into today, because this is the first card that came out. So I'm going to allow them their space here to talk about the battles for dominance when it comes to either the halls of Amenti or the reincarnation, or going on in the Aether, because these are the topics we're talking about today. So handing it over to my guides now to bring through more information on what they wanted to divulge to us. So what information, spirit, or what knowledge would you like to divulge to us regarding to the battles for dominance around the halls of Amenti or around the reincarnation cycle? Or the Akashic Records? What information would you like to divulge to us today? Now, we do have over here sitting off, jumped to the side, is the Phoenix Ashes and the destruction. Now, this could be that the battle that's going on could be for the destruction of the system. Windows to the soul, it's about our souls. Reincarnation cycle is about the reincarnation and the cycle of souls coming back over and over again. Now, maybe somebody is trying to put an end to this situation or destroy the whole system. But there are guardians that are protecting it, and this is where we looked at last week that Thoth the Atlantean at one time was a guardian and worked in the halls of Amenti. He guarded the system. He was a guardian, not quite so of the earth, but more of the souls, more of the halls of Amenti or the Akashic Records. Now it's saying that thoughts matter, all is mental, and this is the first principle of the Hermetic text, the Emerald Tablet. So again, they're piecing together all of the puzzle pieces. As I go deeper into the book of the Thoth the Atlantean, I will get a better understanding of each of these. But I have read the Emerald Tablets and the philosophical texts around the principles, and the first principle being thoughts matter. So who is the war between? We see that the war is between, or a battle for our souls or the dominance of the system against the guardians, the ones that are protecting it. And who else? Who else is it against? Please. Okay, we have a sovereign ruler. Somebody trying to claim authority over all. Again, down the bottom here, we've got that forbidden fruit. It does talk about karma and effects. The law, that's another principle also, the principle of cause and effect, or karmic effects. So, and again, karma is connected and tied up within the soul reincarnation cycle. So once again, it is saying that it is tied up in there, but it's also connected to the principles, the Hermetic principles, being the principle of cause and effect. So these are all connected and tied in here. Now, there is a battle going on around authority over all, trying to get the authority over all. So I feel maybe even these principles, these are Hermetic principles. Can you show me how they're connected and tied into this? Is it a battle over these principles, or a battle for the souls? Now, I'm going to pop this card in because this is our soul card. Bottom of the deck is a different approach. Changes or going with the flow. So there's some changes coming up in the system. So they're wanting to make changes. Now, I asked, who is it against? Who is the battle between? The battle is between the guardians, the ones that are guarding the system, and the malefic, hostile takeover, perhaps even draconian deception. Very, very scary. What will happen to the people if this happens? Now, I've got a feeling that It's almost like the reincarnation. It's not about what will happen to us. I feel like we're already in this battle. Maybe the ones guarding it are trying to free the souls. Please give me some clarification as to where I'm going with this. Has the battle already occurred between the guardians and the hostile takeover? Believe it is true. Okay, so the battle has already occurred, and in that battle, did the system of reincarnation get taken over? Okay, so here we have divine self-connection, trust in the guidance that was being received here, or building blocks, the carbon physical matter. Now that can also be humans made up of carbon or matter. So here we're talking about a system or a battle that takes place when we talk about any of these topics, such as the halls of Amenti, reincarnation, Akashic Records, or the ether itself. It all takes place in the ether. Now the ether is often considered as a fifth element, and I talk about this when I'm using my new deck. This is why I'm reading on this today, because I was reading with my new tarot, Aether Tarot, which gives the fifth element. So just explaining what that fifth element means, we have the main four elements, which is air, water, fire, and earth. And then it said that we have a fifth element. Now, somewhere in history, that fifth element was removed and taken out as being a actual fifth element, but it's considered the fifth element, ether, which represents unseen forces that connect all things. It is the medium through which higher consciousness, telepathic communication, spiritual downloads occur. The Akashic Records and the halls of Amenti are believed to exist within this etheric realm. So there's the connection right there. So what's going on is there's a war or a battle that's already taken place in the ether, in this etheric realm, but it connects, or it affects, I should say, the carbon physical matter, which is the world that we live in. So there's two different realms going on. There's a realm of the ether and the realm of the physical, the carbon, the matter. We currently live in the realm of the carbon or the physical matter. It is affected by the realm of the ether. Please give me some information as to the connection between the two, or how the realm of the physical matter is affected by the realm of the ethereal matter, ethereal realm. Now I am deviating a little bit from the actual topics. It's a slight little movement, they're telling me, away from that. Now, here's something that's going on with that question that I just asked. The sun. Now, we talked about the sun in the last reading, and I did want to go a little bit deeper about the sun, because in the first emerald tablet, the tablet number 1, it talks about how the Atlanteans, and we'll get into that a little bit further down the track, but the Atlanteans were on a different consciousness, or a different elevated energy or consciousness, and that was because they were under a different sun. And remember, that was one of my questions. What do you mean by the lower sun? What did you mean? Or the lower star, it was called in the tablets. Now, if I just get that out. Okay, so I've got the actual words. It says that it is, I'm actually going to read to you. Tablet 1, verse 16. Down through the ages I lived, seeing those around me taste the cup of death, and returned once again in the light of life. Gradually from the kingdoms of Atlantis pass waves of consciousness that had once been with me. So he's talking about a time when he was the Atlantean, or with Atlantean, lived in Atlantis, and then eventually all those souls were passed through, or the level of consciousness of the Atlanteans changed here. So there was different waves of consciousness, is what he seems to be indicating from this tablet, and a different level of consciousness from between when Thoth the Atlantean was at Atlantis, the times of Atlantis, compared to later time. So the consciousness level changed. Now, it said compared to when he was there before he was working in the halls of Amenti. So it says, only to be replaced by the spawn of a lower star. And that was one of my questions. I didn't understand what a lower star meant, and it said that it was to do with the radiant sun. That was the answer that we got in the readings that I'd done last fortnight or 2 weeks ago. So we wanted to talk about that, and I thought, well, I probably need to delve a little bit deeper into the sun, and how are we talking about our sun, and does it affect our level of consciousness? So this is something I am going to ask, and how I feel this answers the question of what I just asked is that it's showing that our level of consciousness has changed. At the effect, because I've asked about how does the realms of the ether affect the realms of the carbon or the matter or the physical, and it's saying that there's a different level of energy, a different level of consciousness, and it's all to do with our personal power, our vitality, or elevating energy. Now, this toxic veil, or this energy there is a toxic veil between the two realms. It has been poisoned, is what, according to the cards, are saying here. Poisoned perhaps by the draconian or the hostile malefic forces, which was what was written on that last card in that last spread. So this veil has been poisoned. So it's kind of like seathering almost our consciousness, or not our consciousness, I shouldn't say it like that, but seathering the connection that we have between the two realms. So here it's saying that our level of consciousness is decreasing. Now, it can be again related to the radiant sun. It can be the lower star, as it was called in Emerald 1. Now, the veil of illusion connected to the toxic veil is showing that we can't quite see through the veil. There's a toxicness to it that does not allow us to see through the veil. Now, I feel we do peer through. I feel we get a little bit of a connection, and this is the veil between the physical carbon matter world and the etheric world, where the energy of the Akashic Records or the halls of Amenti exist in that ethereal energy, or the etheric realm. So there is a veil of illusion there. It's discerning deception, but there's a veil there that makes it difficult to get a good, clear connection here, or we have to work a lot harder to get that. Now, moving on, which is, as I said, I felt like I was deviating a little bit from my original questions that I had, because one of the questions I wanted to delve a little bit deeply into was about the lower star and the sun and the harnessing power. So what it feels like is, back in the Atlantean times, the power level, or the energy level, or the ability to have a higher consciousness was much higher in the Atlantean times, and it is somehow connected to the sun. So let me just see if there's anything else that they want to elaborate on there. Just with this topic, it's just a little bit of a bonus question compared to the other questions I was asking. So we're talking here about the sun's role in this. The sun's role in consciousness, please. Okay, there's a little bit of issues with the card pulling today, just with this particular question. So it may be something that I will probably delve into a little bit deeper on its own reading, because I feel like it needs its own reading. That's why the cards are pulling a little bit differently. They're coming out in one big group. Now, again, we're talking about souls, so our ability to really read the Akashic, or really understand our soul's journey or our soul's progress. Perhaps even what I was getting here was something about that battle that was going on between forces, the guardians of the Akashic, or the guardians of the Halls of Amenti, versus the hostile takeover, the battle that has already happened. I felt like it could be like causing a little bit of a soul trap with the souls, and that's why that takeover that's happened, causing some kind of soul trap. So I may visit that as a question today here, because the soul card has come up once again. So our ability to better ourselves or progress, move forward here, it is affected by this whole process that's going on. Now, the Fearlessly Pluto is all about transformation, facing your fears, but it's all about death and transformation as well. That's what Pluto is. It's the planet of death and transformation. So here we're talking about when we die, our ability to transform after death and move on, move forward, progress. But there seems to be that we are bound to the cycle of reincarnation. That's what these cards are indicating. We're bound to this cycle of reincarnation and unable to release ourselves or liberate ourselves from this soul contract, from this constant going through this reincarnation cycle and being dragged back in again. Now, we could be getting dragged back in again through our own thoughts of we need to do this better, or karma, or wanting to fix karma, but there is something here, or working on contracts, feeling like we can do this again, so we go in for another contract to say, yes, I want to redo this part better. Of course, I'm saying that there is personal will, we have decision, free will is what I'm saying here, but part of it feels like it's a little bit trickery. It feels like it's hindering our ability to move forward after death, to progress, to move forward. That's kind of what I'm feeling around it. It's currently under a watchful eye, so that it does not allow us to move forward. Now, this is the symbiosis, indicating that these things are working side by side. Now, could be a level of AI that's involved here, or an AI race, something I don't have a great understanding in, but there could be a level of that attached to this. Now, that could be the malefic takeover, could be connected to that, because the bottom of the card we're talking about versus, so silicon symbiosis, which is AI, versus carbon physical matter. Again, they're completely opposite. So I'm going to move on because I feel like that's like it's a reading in itself. So 2 readings I'd like to delve into a little deeper. There is one on the sun, but one also on the soul trap, and read a little bit deeper on those things. But I'm going to continue moving forward on the topics for today. Now, given that everything we've talked about, or that we're learning on this journey, I want to talk a bit about reincarnation here, because this is a topic that they love. And it's funny because none of the cards have fallen out today around reincarnation. But the reincarnation is the cycle that's going on that I feel like there's been a battle over. Now, what I'm getting from the cards is that we're in some kind of contract to repeat and correct karma. So we feel like we have to do that. We feel like it's part of our contract. Now, there's an issue with trying to break free with that, trying to break free from that pattern, because we just saw that in the last spread. So please give me more information as we go, as we shuffle and talk about this information. The cycle of rebirth and transformation, which we just saw that Pluto card, is essential to many spiritual traditions. The halls of Amenti are sometimes described as a space where souls transition between lifetimes, gaining wisdom before returning to the physical realm. And we keep seeing that physical card. The carbon matter is the physical realm. So how are we affected? This is a question related to that. This is what we really want to know. How are we affected by this? How does it affect us in the carbon, in the physical? How are we affected by what's going on in the ethereal? Now, I do think I just asked this question. Okay, so again, we're wanting to say that the guardians or the protectors of the Akashic, maybe they're trying to reveal hidden information here. So the guardians feel like they want to help us. Am I right in saying that there's 2 factions here? 2 factions trying to gain control of the whole system of the Akashic Records or the halls of Amenti? Yes, we've got the sovereign ruler, someone having authority over all, trying to get authority over the whole thing, related to the seeds of creation. Okay, just tapping into this energy a little bit more. This is bringing me vibes of Enlil, Enki, Seeds of Creation. This is kind of where I'm going for here. Is that what was created? Now, I don't quite know the timelines here concerning Sumerian energy. This is where a lot of these doctrines or information comes from, the Sumerian energy. but I feel like maybe the Atlanteans were a time before that. Am I correct in saying that? Were the Atlanteans, because the halls of Amenti goes back to the Atlantean times, civilizations beyond Sumerian civilizations. So human civilizations, this is a warrior fight for human rights. Survival mode, heightened alertness and stress. Okay, what are you trying to tell me here? What are you trying to tell me here? Very interesting cards on the table over here. We've got this creation, or the sovereign ruler that made the creations of humans, because we have humans over this side. But there's a survival mode here to do with this, and we have a guardians. The guardian energy is there. Okay, and again here it makes its appearance is the eternal cycle of reincarnation. So this is the card that we're talking about. I'm asking questions around reincarnation, birth, rebirth and transformation, which is death and transformation, and the rhythm of cycles, flow and tide. This is another Hermetic principle, so that seems to be all tied up. It's kind of like hidden secrets to the whole system. Even rhythms of cycle and flow. Now this could be the cycles of civilizations going on here, and how the ending of the Atlanteans, and we begin a new civilization. So this is the energy that could be happening here. I'm going to clear these cards here, and we're going to take a little bit look into this situation. Okay, further insight into different civilizations between Atlantis and the current civilization. Please give some clarity to the cards that have just come out. Changing times, generations or civilizations. So you can see just how powerful these cards are. They really respond to what's going on. They really understand, the spirit understands what the questions are, and they respond correctly with the cards that are very powerful. So let's continue on and continue answering the questions here. We're talking about the different civilizations between Atlanteans or Atlantis and current civilization. Okay, now where I'm going with this. Okay, connection and download. Mercury, the messenger. Important message. I need to learn and listen, channel and spirit. That could be just a direct message for me to really tap into this energy, but it can also be talking about Hermes Trismegister, because remember on the first reading that I done, we kept getting Thoth and Mercury. Mercury can represent the emerald tablets, being Hermes Trismegister. Stellar gateways, time to make a leap forward. Now, I just read that, so let's take a look back here. We're talking about the halls of Amenti, are believed to hold the records of souls, their journeys and their transformations. They serve as gateways to higher wisdom and ascension. So this is the stellar gateways. So let's tap into that energy just a little bit more and come back to that energy. Do we have access to the higher wisdom and ascension, the gateway? Do we have access to that? Oh, that was a big jumping card. Let's take that one there. Forbidden fruit. No. It's saying no. We're not allowed knowledge. It's sealed off from us. We're not allowed to tap into that energy. So just repeating that information, which is the gateway to higher wisdom and ascension, the access. Okay, I'll read that back to you. The halls of Amenti are believed to hold records of souls, their journeys and their transformation. Serves as a gateway to higher wisdom and ascension. Some of this information is forbidden fruit and we are not allowed access. Some of it, though, however, is revealed. Covert, undercover, revealing hidden information. The way forward into the future. Now, is that to help us to move forward when we die? When we die, instead of being in this cycle, is this information, is somebody trying to reveal to us? So when I say somebody, I talk about the guardians here, the guardians in the ether. Are they trying to reveal to us how to move forward? The journey, spiritual growth and evolution. They want us to grow. They want us to evolve. They want us to move forward on our evolution. The Keeper of Destiny, the Akashic Records. They want us to be able to move forward. It is advanced knowledge and perhaps a little bit beyond comprehension, the depth and level of this. Now, jump over in the corner that's jumped out here is some of this is guarded secrets. There is a guardian shield or guarded and protected information. Parts of this information about how we move forward through the Akashic on our journey of spiritual growth and evolution. As our souls in our journey and we die and move on, progress or move forward instead of just revolving in this continuing loop of reincarnation. So there is information on how to do that. They are trying to reveal that, but some of the information is guarded, walls up, difficult for us to gain access to. We are under a cloak of forgetfulness. Will we be able to get access to that as humans to help us evolve, to help us to grow, to help us to move forward on our spiritual evolution? Or are we doomed to stay in the cycle of reincarnation? Okay, so moving beyond comprehension, the Akashic Records are a key component of that. It is beyond comprehension or knowledge. There is a lot more to this. It's a little bit different than what we currently understand it to be. The karmic effect, so the law of cause and effect, or the karma that continues us through this repeating cycle. It's a little bit different than what we really understand. Again, there's guardians, walls up, secrecy that doesn't allow us to have complete understanding of this system. Information that's really about not just the system, but how we move forward, how we progress, how we spiritually evolved. That information is a bit guarded. But again, it is revealing once again, repeating cards, it's saying the same thing. It's not deviating from the message here. Reveal the hidden. It's undercover, covertly. Perhaps a certain group is trying to reveal this information, this hidden information to us. Even though it's guarded, they are trying to reveal the information to us. Look at this on the bottom of the deck. That's going to allow us spiritual growth and connection and evolution on our journey. Amazing. They're saying the same things over and over again. So let's move on through the next topic. The next topic is Akashic Records. The Akashic Records are an etheric library containing collective experiences, thoughts, and events of all souls. Some teachings suggest that the halls of Amenti and the Akashic Records are interconnected, both serving as repositories of universal knowledge. So let's see what the cards have to say about the Akashic Records. Sacred. They're sacred. The Akashic Records are sacred. Now, what I wanted to, and I've been there from the beginning, so it goes way back to the beginning of each individual soul. Now, what I wanted to ask is, does an individual soul have the ability to access that information to help us progress on our individual journeys? Oop, it's a jumping card. Okay, source and beginning, to allow access to the beginning information of what we were before we entered the reincarnation cycle. Or an emergence, a renewal and emergence, new world, new beginning. Before we began, because we've got a beginning versus the beginning, the new beginnings, the beginnings. Okay, so that's important. So we're talking about beginning soul on the bottom of the card, bottom of the deck, the soul's beginning of its journey. let's ask what was the true intention of the journey of the soul. Let's take a look at that, and I'll just take a quick look at these. Cosmic law, balance and fairness. Thoughts matter, all is mental. That's the first Hermetic principle. But there is a divided path. We're separated from that information or that connection between the two realms. Again, balance again. We have balance, cosmic law, fairness and balance. And then we have Venus empathy, all about balance. So here, the question that I had with these cards here is, what was the true intention of the soul's journey? I'm not sure which card wanted to come out then. The Keeper of Destiny, the Akashic Records. Breaking free from the containment. I'll just show you that card. Finding a way to break free from the containment. Akashic Records holds the source, holds the key. Second time it said that. No. Okay, so no, maybe it's not the second time it said that. Okay, this says cosmic reflections, the universe corresponds. Something I missaid there, so either it's not the second time that it said that. Please elaborate more there. Bottom of the deck says the destruction of the phoenix ashes. Please elaborate on what the no was for. Travel or movement, the path of progress or betterment. Okay, what I'm kind of getting there with the no, path of progress, the betterment versus being contained. So being contained was not the original intention or the original purpose of the soul's journey. So no, it was not the original, the containment was not the original intention. Self-betterment, path of progress, was the original purpose. Is that what you're trying to say? Or please elaborate. The renewal or emergence. Okay, energy's changed a little bit here. It's pulling back a little bit. And I guess that's what the distraction energy is here. I do have a couple of distractions at the moment. So I've lost that train. I do apologize for that. We did get a lot of information through on that reading though. One quick more question I wanted to really focus on here is ether was the other thing. Now ether is often considered the fifth element. Actually, I did go through this already. We talked about ether when I talked about my tarot cards. Now, is there a connection between when I tap into the ether, when I tap into that mind of the all, because the cards often talk about the mind of the all is matter. This is the first Hermetic principle. Everything is mental. That's the first Hermetic principle. So when I tap into that ether or that consciousness mind, everything is mental. When I tap into that energy, am I tapping into Akashic Records or able to access Akashic Records? Okay, and cards have packed it in. Okay, I did feel the energy pulled back, so I'm not quite sure. Again, it's saying thoughts matter. It is all mental, as I was just saying. No. There's discipline in crafting abilities here. As I said, the energy has changed and pulled back a little bit here. Seeking guidance, Thoth. I think this is Thoth energy pulling back here. That's what's going on here, subtle awareness. So I'm going to do a final spread here. A couple of cards jumped over, a shift in perspective. It's a bit different, and I did feel the perspective of the energy changed then. The shift in the energy changed there with the cards. So I just want to pull a final spread. Is there any final words here? And I may have to clarify the last two questions on the next reading. Okay, final spread. Final words. As I'm shuffling, I'm getting here about, I was talking about the Aether and the Akashic Records. I think they're not the same. So when I was kind of getting at, are they the same thing? Well, the Akashic Records are an etheric library. Maybe being able to access the Akashic Records through that ethereal energy, but they're not the same thing. Covert hidden information, it's all about vibration, and I do know tapping into that energy is all about vibration and frequency around you. Forbidden fruit on the bottom. Okay, I just want to pull a question. I'm not going to ask for the answer. I'm just going to ask exactly what the forbidden information, the forbidden knowledge, the forbidden fruit, what topic is that related to, please? That was a jumping card. Carbon matter, our physical matter. That's the card. So it's related to the building blocks, our physical matter, this realm, our physical realm. Okay, I'm going to leave that there because, as I said, the energies change, but I do feel like we do get a lot of information through that time. I may have to clarify those last two questions when the energy had shifted, but thank you so much for joining me for another Neptune moon reading.